This new piece, Aerostata, is about the buoyant landscape of external thoughts that constantly surround us. The name is the Latinized version of the word aerostat, which is a descriptor of any lighter-than-air aircraft that floats primarily due to buoyancy rather than forward momentum. And at first glance, it can look like it's something of another planet because I think of it as a dimension that's just beyond the veil. It wasn't something that I consciously set out to create. It happened naturally, as most of my paintings do. At one point, early on in the process, it resembled my painting Sisyphus. There was this one large orb or mass sitting at what I had originally began this painting as the bottom. In many ways, it actually inspired Sisyphus because once I developed that concept, I thought I'm going to translate it onto a larger canvas and allow this one to be something else. And while I kept working, I realized that it was not only becoming something entirely different, it was developing in somewhat of a different hand. While Sisyphus reached completion, Aerostata went into what I call Siberia, or the unfinished limbo where I set aside paintings until they figure out exactly what they want to be. This piece felt a little bit different for me, and it was slightly inspired by Miro's Constellation series. And while it has a different hand to it, a very different one, some of the ideas are similar. You can imagine a sky peppered with thought bubbles, or maybe even a skyscape of red constellations. The feeling it gives is one of beautiful chaos. The message behind Aerostata is that our thoughts are often not our own. It's a reminder not to feel guilty for thoughts that float into our awareness. What matters is knowing that we always have the power not to take them. We don't have to step into every hot air balloon just to see where it leads. We have agency in this landscape we can't always see that exists just beyond the dimension that we know. What's also meaningful to me is how this painting has inspired me to embrace the process of allowing pieces to be unfinished for a while. This is a very hard thing for me to do, and I have been told that this is one of my best works yet, and I think that's partially because I allowed it more time to develop rather than keeping it going just because I wanted to roll with the momentum. Even though it sat in that unfinished state for months, I think that it was developing in its own way, and it allowed it to be completed much more rapidly once it came back out. I've come to see this as a sign to trust my process more. Eventually, there is always a resolution, and sometimes it's a far better one than the one that I could have imagined.